And next tonight, he is one of the biggest rock stars on the planet. 16 Grammy Awards as the drummer for Nirvana, then the founder and frontman of Foo Fighters. Dave Grohl has been credited with keeping rock music's flame burning, and now he is cranking the story of his life to full volume with a new book of stories, including how he dealt with the death of Kurt Cobain. Here's Linsey Davis.
You say at the outset of your book that you're not big into collecting things, you're into collecting moments. So how did you decide and go about which moments you were going to include in this book?
You know, it was tough, actually, to decide how to fit all of this into 384 pages, you know. The idea for the book actually started with this Instagram page about a year and a half ago when everything shut down. I had nothing else to do. The band wasn't on tour. We had just finished making a record. And I made a list of about 30 or 40 stories that I could write for this Instagram page. And when I signed the book deal, I just handed them the list of stories. And I said, okay, you tell me what you want me to write. And it could be anything from a car accident I was in when I was a child to joining Nirvana to starting the Foo Fighters. It was just a matter of choosing the stories so that we could put them together and that there would be an arc from beginning to end. And I think we pulled it off.
Your mom, who's a public school teacher, you talked about how she really led you to your career in music as far as allowing you to leave school and really help make some big decisions along the way. What would you say are some of the most valuable lessons learned from Mom?
Oh my God. I mean, there's so many. You know, I remember talking to her when I was young, asking her about peer pressure growing up in rural Ohio. And she said, you know, I never really compared myself to other people. I always thought of myself just as myself. And that, you know, that still to this day serves as some of the best advice I've ever gotten from anyone. Years later, when I was leaving home and leaving my friends to join Nirvana, I was really torn. I didn't know what to do. And she said, you know, sometimes you have to do what's best for you, not everyone else. You have to do what's best for you. So still to this day, she's my best friend.
This past September marked 30 years since the Nevermind album dropped, major album that really launched Nirvana to stardom. And with regard to the video, Smells Like Teen Spirit, you wrote about the video, and I want to quote you here, that it was a sentiment that we all obviously connected to, but we could not predict that an entire generation would feel the same. What do you think about those songs really resonated so much with your listeners that they became so popular?
I think there was an emotional purity and honesty in Kurt's songwriting that millions of people could relate to. I think that he had the ability to say things that maybe others were too afraid to say. And that was liberating in a lot of ways. You know, we never expected the band to reach the levels that it did. But when we played, there were 3 of us on stage, and it was real. It sounded like Nirvana. And I think that's probably why, still to this day, my daughters sometimes listen to Nirvana, not because I was the drummer, but I think they connect to that music just as people their age did 30 years ago.
How has being a dad of 3 girls in particular really changed you as a musician?
It's made me work harder. I know that. You know, I think that when you become a parent, you have this whole new emotional sensibility, and that eventually makes its way into your songwriting. It's almost like you're experiencing life all over again, but this time with kind of a deeper understanding of how it works. My relationship with my kids has nothing to do with music. It really is just like, get them up in the morning, get them in the car, get them to school, make sure that they're happy and fed. But ultimately, they're the big part. Music is just kind of this little piece over here.
One of the more emotional parts of the book, you talk about the death of Kurt Cobain and Jimmy Swanson, your childhood friend who died in 2008 of a drug overdose. What did you draw upon to kind of channel what you were feeling in those moments?
You know, that piece in the book basically talks about how there's no textbook for losing someone. There's no manual for mourning someone's passing. They all happen differently, and so losing Kurt was a huge moment in my life because my world was turned upside down. I turned off the radio and put my instruments away because music broke my heart. I realized I needed it again to heal me. And that was my continuation of life. That's what was going to keep me alive. And that's when I started the Foo Fighters.
You talk about that you needed music to heal you, and in particular when you went back to Ireland after Kurt's passing, and then there was a fan there who really inspired you. Tell us how that fan then kind of sparked that light in you again.
Well, I had decided at the time that I didn't want to play music. I didn't really even want to listen to music. I needed to go on some sort of soul searching. So I decided to go find the most remote area that I knew, which was the Ring of Kerry in Ireland. And I rented a car and I was driving in the middle of nowhere, beautiful scenery, and just shut off from the rest of the world. I saw a hitchhiker in the distance and I thought, oh, maybe I'll pick him up. And as I got closer and closer, I saw that he had a Kurt Cobain t-shirt on. And it was in that moment that I realized, like, I can't outrun this thing. I need to go back home and get to work because there's more life to be lived. And so I did.
And you talk about how that was kind of therapeutic. Writing now for the Foo Fighters, you're writing for a new band, and how you really didn't feel the pressure, right? But at what point did you think, I'm really on to something? You know, these new songs were going to become huge hits all over again.
That just happened like a few years ago. I mean, to be honest, you know, it wasn't so much a career decision. It was much more emotional. I put this band together with some friends who also had been in bands that ended prematurely. We were young. I think we were 25 or 26 years old. So it really was more a continuation of life. And we started playing shows, and we had the courage to play in front of people. And then we toured for a year and a half and came home and said, okay, you want to do it again? And then we did it again, and we made another record. It not only gives us something to look forward to, but it really does bring that joy and that life that I think made us fall in love with music in the first place.
So you're going to do it again?
I think we're going to do it again.
You talk about falling in love with music, right, at an early age. What would you say, or what would you hope that a young person who's reading your book, who might have their own love affair with music, what would you hope that they take away from your own experience in kind of following this path and pursuing your first love?
I think what most musicians have in common is their core love of music. And that kind of begins on your bedroom floor with a Beatles songbook and an old guitar and a record player. It's that musician, that core, that sort of steers your path from the bedroom floor to the stadium, you know, and hopefully that remains intact. I really think that the music's greatest reward is just the act of playing it and listening to it and loving it. You know, I hit the jackpot, man. Like I pound the crap out of my drums and wound up, you know, making some great records over time. But ultimately, like, I still feel like the kid on the bedroom floor for sure.
What does it feel like to be inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame for a second time? First time, obviously, with Nirvana, 2014. Now you're doing it again with Foo Fighters. It's
strange. I don't know how to describe it. When Nirvana was inducted, I remember I had that trophy thing on the nightstand, and I just looked at it and felt very proud that I was able to be in that band and make those songs that so many people enjoyed. And with the Foo Fighters, it's a different feeling because this thing started from tiny seed, and over 26 years has grown into something that we all love, like a big family tree, you know. So I'm very proud of both.
Dave, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate you talking with us.
It's good to talk to you.
One of the most likable people in the world. Our thanks to Linsey Davis. The Storyteller, Tales of Life and Music is out now wherever books are sold.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.